Welcome everyone to today's Blitz Bowl game that sees the Dwarves taking on the Chaos. The ball is set up on the left trap. The Dwarves are set up like this. The Chaos are set up like this. And the challenges for the second round are take them down, move the ball, and go deep. During the first turn, the Dwarves just moved and picked the ball up with the runner, and then the Blitzer and the Troll Slayer just moved to support. The Chaos, we had a blocker just move up, and then two Beastmen. First off, the Troll Slayer decided to mark, and he gets his free block action, which he converted with a knockdown, and it breaks the armor. For the next two actions, the runner just ran the ball and then claimed the point for move the ball because he moved it more than 5 spaces away. And lastly, the Troll Slayer just moved up as well, just ran. Of course, he claimed the point before for take them down. They also, on the last one, claimed go deep. So all 3 challenge cards were claimed in that turn, and it has taken the score to 6-0 straight away, with the challenge cards refreshing to these. So the Beastman here decided to mark the Dwarf with the ball, and unfortunately just got a push on his block action. The Beastman up here decided to mark, and he's standing on the trapdoor, which earned themselves a point. The score is 6-1, with Get Moving coming into play. So the Troll Slayer decides to block the Beastman here, gets a push, which pushes him into the side, knocking him down, but his armor holds up. They did still get the point though for take them down, which puts them on 7-1. The Dwarf runner then just went around and scored the touchdown, gained himself 3 points, which basically puts them 1 point away from a clean sweep victory, with a lineman moving up 4 for their last action. So at the end of the turn, the score is 10-1. Yeah, and the cards are looking like this. So the ball has popped up on this left trap, which means that Beastman runner unfortunately falls through. Then the ball pops up and it scatters. I actually didn't know about that rule until someone pointed it to me last video, so thank you for that. In the Chaos turn, all they did was he picked up the ball and ran, and then these two ran, so they earned the point for 3 players moving, which puts them 2 in front now. So yeah, here are the cards for the next round. So after a knockdown to win the game, he marked down here, managed to get a crunch, which meant that they needed a 4+ to keep them in the game, and they did. Remember, Chaos blockers don't get knocked down. So the Blitzer marked and then blocked the Beastman runner, but he's just knocked down and safe. Which means the cards reset. The score is still 10-2, and we now have tie them up in play. So the Chaos blocker scored the touchdown to give themselves a bit of a points buffer. And for the last 2 actions, the Beastman runner here just stood back up, and he attempted to block here, but just managed a push, which he has not followed up on. So the score is now 10-5, and here are the new cards. Ball in play, so just a new one came up from this trap and it's scattered to here. So he knocks him down, and that is it. The armor saves him. He then plays a foul card, injuring that player right there and earning them 2 points for break some bones. For the last action, he just moved and ran onto the ball, picked it up, and then the Chaos played intervention, which meant that this blocker here could just move in and make a free mark action. Chaos are taking a bit of a battering, 4 away, so emergency reserves are going to kick in soon, but it is 13-5 at the moment, and these are the new challenge cards in play. For emergency reserves, they just brought a Beastman back on. Then for their first action, he made the block action there, knocking him down with a tackle, but causing no damage and scattering the ball here. Beastman ran up, claimed the ball, and got a point for claiming said ball. And then for the last action, they just brought a Chaos Blocker back out. So the score is now 13-6, and these are the cards in play. So the Dwarf Blitzer, he marked the Beastman, then blocked, managed to get himself a Crunch, which minuses 1 to the armour, so then he did 4+. That unfortunately knocks him out, and then the ball scattered to here. So they earned 2 points for free up the ball. So for the Dwarf's last action, he basically marked, got his free block, got a tackle. Of course they don't go down, so you see if it breaks the armour, and it didn't. Lastly, the Dwarfs played Inspiration, and so the Blitzer here, just ran, picked up the ball and moved it to there. Score couldn't be any closer for an overthrow. It is 15-6, and here are the latest points. So Chaos had no choice, they had to try and stop the score over there. So he moved, he marked and then blocked, and unfortunately only got himself a push, so he followed up. Unchanged, and the challenge cards refreshed. So the Dwarf Blitzer needed to get that Chaos Blocker away from him. He needed to try and at least knock him down with either a knockdown or a Crunch, and then hopefully break his armour. But he's just got a push, unfortunately, and that is including his reroll. So for his second action, all he did was run his 5. He can't score, but oh well. Lastly, the Dwarf Troll Slayer managed to get a Crunch on a block, and it broke the armour. So that Chaos player is taken out. So at the end of the turn, the score is still like this, and we have a new challenge card refresh. The Chaos get emergency reserves, and this blocker came out and then marked here. This blocker then ran to there, and that meant that they could get a point for cover your lines. Chaos blocker is just going to block him right there. So on the block, he knocks him down, freeing up the ball. It scatters to there, but he does not break his armour. So the Chaos lastly play Inspiration, and he is the only one available to run. He runs, picks up the ball, claims the card for getting the ball, and that is a clean sweep of the board. So all of a sudden, Chaos have some distance and some leverage now. They are on 12 points to the Dwarves 15. So the Troll Slayer marked the Chaos guy. He pushed, so he would have been pushed into there, which would have knocked him down. They can't be knocked down, so you roll on their armour, and he got a 3, so he is perfectly safe. And as far as I know, because nothing has happened and he's safe, I believe he still keeps the ball, but please let me know if that is not the case. For the rest of the Dwarf turn, he just got up here and he stood up here. Scores stayed the same, with the new cards looking like this. Chaos play reserves to bring out a Beastman. So the Beastman ran and then marked, and on his headbutt, it's basically a free block. So he managed to knock down the Troll Slayer and break his armour, earning themselves 2 points for the injury. And lastly, the Chaos Blocker just decided to move his 5 down to here. So all of a sudden it's 14-15, and here are the new challenge cards. The Dwarves bring the runner back on and then set themselves up with a defensive screen, which means the score remains tied, and here is the new challenges. Chaos first played reserves to bring out a Beastman, and then they just marked, and marked here, so as they could earn themselves 2 points. That meant that they finally take the lead for the first time in the game, And here are the new challenge cards. So the first dwarf, marked and then blocked, gets the tackle, but unfortunately it's not enough because they are indomitable. So for the last action, this dwarf here blocked, got himself a crunch, and it was enough to break his armor, which puts him out, and the ball scattered to there. So the dwarves take the lead yet again, and we are now in endgame. So Chaos didn't really know what to do, so they got this guy back out from reserves. He stood up. Finally, he's done nothing all game. And then this beastman over here decided to run. So the score is the same, and here are the new endgame challenge. So at the start of the turn, the dwarfs play defensive play. The runner runs and picks up the ball. This beastman here gets injured on the block. And then they get lucky over here because he has knocked down and injured this Chaos blocker also, earning themselves 2 points for cause some carnage. And a bit of unluckiness there for the Chaos. That blocker there gets a serious injury. So he is out of the game completely. He can never enter play again. So the score is 19-16 as we near the end of the game, and level the field has come into play. So the Beastman player, he ran, marked, gets his free block. Unfortunately, it was just a push, so he followed up. Did claim the level the field card though, and so every time that they score, they basically increase it by 1 until they equal the opponent's score. Lastly though, with nothing really to do, they just bring a Chaos blocker back on the field. So the score is still the same, and we now have level the field back in play. So this dwarf lineman just marked and blocked this beastman runner, and yeah, knocked him down. All the push would have worked, and he lost his armor check, so he's injured. For the last action, the dwarf runner just come down to here. Scores stay the same, and cause some carnage has come back into play. Chaos play interference, so they can now mark up to 4 squares, and so this beastman does just that. He only gets himself a push, but he gets a 2+ for the armor, which is a fail, and he's just placed the ball there. For his last action, he just runs up to here, and then game face is on comes into play. So all he did was hand off the ball with a throw action, and then that guy made a running dart for the end zone. The scores are looking like this, and we now only have 3 cards in play. So the dwarf lineman, he runs, marks and blocks, gets a push, and of course it breaks the armor. Of course it does, the armor doesn't hold up for that one, so yeah. He's off, and the ball has just scattered to there. The score is looking like this, and yeah, not a fat lot they can do. So Chaos got emergency reserves, just brought that beastman back into play. They marked and blocked down here. Fortunately, it was a miss. This guy then just ran because there's nothing else he could do. It's a dwarf turn. The score is looking like that. We have 1 card left. It's now or never. And so I'm going to call it. This is a dwarf win, and the dwarves have 19 to the Chaos's 16. So there we have it. The dwarves have got their first win, and they nearly did it in style in 3 rounds. Yeah, that was utterly ridiculous, the fact that they nearly 1 point off claiming a ridiculous victory, and Chaos managed to pull it back, but they just didn't have the legs at the end. It come down to that, just that one beastman at the top. I mean, if he'd have missed here, The Beastman could have, blocked, a push would have done, and then he could have ran it in, and then Chaos would have won. Yeah, it was just one of those games, unfortunately. Just one of those games. It come down to the luck of the dice right at the end. Anyway, the Dwarves win their first game. Hope you've enjoyed this. Please subscribe for more Blitz Bowl content, and I shall see you next time.